Hey y'all, welcome to Module 5. We are starting on our water, so let's get her done. So this is Memphis, Tennessee. So the population is 651,073 people. So how did I get this number of how much water is being used today? Sorry, let me get me a color. How did I get this 97.7 and to figure out how much water is being used a day from the population? I multiplied the population times 0.0015. Sorry, another zero was there, which is how many is approximately 100 gallons per day, which is 0.0015 cubic. Oh, you know what I can do? I can do this. And I can do cubic feet per second. So I multiplied those two numbers together, and I got 97.2 cubic feet per second per day. And I also did it for the year, so approximately 35,646 cubic feet per second per year. Now I'm going to erase this. There we go. All right, so now that we know how those calculations are done, all the rest of them are done the same way. So the closest river to Memphis, Tennessee is the Mississippi River. And at the highest point of this year, so inside of the watershed.gov, I had typed in how many days, 365 for a year. And so the highest was 1,500,000. That was the highest cubic feet per second. And that was in May. And then the lowest was 350,000, and that was in September of last year. So that was the highest and lowest point. And according to this, since we're just talking about, on average throughout the year, it looks like that this river holds enough water to equip the city of Memphis by itself, definitely, especially if its high was 1 million and its low was still 350,000. And in a year, we're only using 35,000 cubic feet per second per year with the population. So this is just the population using water. This does not include like industry, which we talked about, like the electric, like cooling those electric, creating electricity uses more water. So we're not talking about that, but if we're just talking about population, definitely this river is enough to support that population. So moving on to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So the population is 221,599 people. So in a day, the people in Baton Rouge are using 33.2 cubic feet per second. And in a year, they're using about 12,123 cubic feet per second per year. And the closest river was the Amite River. And on a high, we are at about 14,000 cubic feet per second. And then on a low, we are at 350 cubic feet per second. So this is adequately sufficient for Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So on average, it looks like we're still over 1,000, which if we're using 33 per day, we should be fine with getting water every day. But again, this is just the population. This does not have to do with industry, which is the biggest user of water, or should I say, creating that electric power. So this is sufficient for the population of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Yay! So Atlanta, Georgia. So the population is 509,811 people. So in an average per day, we're using about 76.5 cubic feet per second, and in a year, 27,912 cubic feet per second per year. And the closest river to Atlanta, I was surprised. I thought there was a different river somewhere. I don't know why. Is the Chattahoochee River. And at a high, it's around 14,000 cubic feet per second, and then at the low, it's about 900 cubic feet per second. So I said that this river is barely sufficient for the city, even if we're just talking about the residents, because on the lows, which you can see, we're low for a lot of the year. I don't know if that's just me. Sorry, you can't even see me using my little cursor. But as you can see, we're pretty low for a lot of the year before we go up, and then we come right back down. So that means that we're using 76 per day out of 900 is still a lot of water per day. So I can't imagine with industry and electric how much of that water we're using. And of course, the Chattahoochee doesn't just run through Atlanta, it runs through a lot of other cities too. So the Chattahoochee might not be totally sufficient for the water use that we have here in Atlanta and the surrounding suburbs as well. So I was excited to see Sacramento, California, because I'm from California, albeit I'm from the southern part, but it was nice to see California. So the population is just a little bit under Atlanta, not by that much, 508,529 people. And the statistics were sort of the same. So there's 76.3 cubic feet per second is what Sacramento is using a day. And about 27,842 cubic feet per second is what they are using in a year. So the closest is the Sacramento River, but there's another river called the Lower American River that also runs to the Sacramento River, but the Sacramento River is closest to downtown, so I use that one because that's the metro area, and I'm assuming that's where, a lot of people are using the water. So the Sacramento River. And on a high, we're at about 900 cubic feet per second. And in a low, we're at about 200 cubic feet per second. So this was interesting because, again, it's kind of like the Chattahoochee where we see like it's not always high. And when it's high, it's really high. So we see like just little rises here and there, but it's pretty stable and it's pretty low within that like 900, under 1,000 range. And this is not sufficient for Sacramento because they are using about 76.3 cubic feet per second per day. And we see a lot of lows in that September, October, November, and December time, which we should see because it's winter. And that is only about 200. So nearly half of that water is just going to the public. So again, I can't even imagine what the surrounding suburbs or what the industry is using. So I don't think the Sacramento River is sufficient for this city, at least when it comes to water and the population that they have. So they must draw from a lot of different rivers coming in. All right, and last but not least, my area where I do my field research is Smyrna, Georgia, basically my complex. And the closest river is actually Chattahoochee. I go hiking at like the Indian Trail and Soap Creek Trail. So I'm really close to the Chattahoochee River. Population of my city is 56,666, and we're only using about 8.5 cubic feet per second per day, and about 3,102.5 cubic feet per second per year. And the closest river is the Chattahoochee River. Like I said, I've been going there. I love to just hike and to just watch it and to just get in where you can, where you have those rocks, especially during the time when the water is not rushing because of the snow melt. So it's a wonderful time. And just like with Atlanta, since this is the same river, the high is at 14,000 and the low is at 900. If we're just talking about the Chattahoochee supplying water for Smyrna, Georgia, it is enough water because we're only using about 8.5 cubic feet per day because we have a small population. And that is way below even the lowest at 900. And the Chattahoochee is sufficient for this city only. However, as we know, it supplies Atlanta, which I have previously said isn't that sufficient. I mean, it's sufficient, but it could be better. Atlanta is using a lot more of the water. So again, those surrounding suburbs like Smyrna, Marietta, Douglas, all these other places around Atlanta are also probably drawing from the Chattahoochee, which could be detrimental over time. So water usage, not including like industry, for Smyrna from the Chattahoochee is enough. And thank you for watching my presentation. I appreciate it. Thank you.